the new year 2022. This is the first edition for the year, and we are most grateful to the Almighty for keeping us safe and alive to see this day and to have time together on this edition of the program. My name, as usual, is Tunde Oladino. It hasn't changed, and today I have my guest in the house. But first of all, I'd like to acknowledge our supporters on this program, the Nigeria Society of Engineers, for their support every week, and Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC, for the support in terms of gifts for those that get our questions right. And like I said, talking about questions, our questions for today is: what is the fuel used in nuclear power plants? What is the fuel used in nuclear power plants? So if you have it, just send it to us on Facebook as OGTV, OGUNTV, and on YouTube at OGTV Abeokuta. The question is, what is the fuel used in nuclear power plants? So I'll take a very short break, and when we return, I will let you know who my guest is, and we'll set it up from there. Welcome back. My guest for today is Engineer OLUTOSIN OGUNMOLA. He is the 14th and current chairman of the Nigeria Society of Engineers IKEJA branch. He is an industrial engineer with over 18 years of work experience in manufacturing, covering industrial maintenance plants, technical after-sales service, project management, industrial safety training, and supply chain, warehouse, inventory management. He is a registered engineer with the Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, a corporate member of the Nigeria Society of Engineers, a certified project management professional by the Project Management Institute, and a certified incident and injury-free orientation trainer and leader by JMJ Associates. He has worked in several multinational companies and has served in many professional organizations. He is passionate about engineering project management, leadership, public governance, and industrialization, and currently spearhead the Nigerian Society of Engineers IKEJA branch, extensive initiative that are geared towards redirecting engineering as a driving force in national development and rightly putting engineering at the center of growth process. He is currently appointed by the Governor of Lagos State, Nigeria, as a member of the State Road Safety Advisory Council, saddled with the responsibility of domesticating the United Nations Decade of Action on Road Safety in implementing the National Road Safety Strategy at the state level. I can go on and on. If I decide to go on and on, 25 minutes, I'll still be reading his profile. Welcome to this edition of the profile, Engineer OLUTOSIN OGUNMOLA.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now,
I think it's safe to say Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's really safe to say. Our topic for today is engineering as the driving force for national development. Now, in what way can engineering drive development of the nation?
If you say in what ways, I would say in all ways. The truth of the matter is that engineering is at the heart of human development. So of course, national development is just a subset of human development. And if you would consider also that, the world is largely divided into what you would call developed nations and maybe developing, if of course, as a matter of fact, you would have underdeveloped. And the measure of development is basically engineering. So if you are looking at a developed nation, you are looking at the infrastructure, you are looking at production, and all of these have, functionality in engineering. So you cannot talk of national development without talking about engineering. National development has everything to do about engineering. So indeed, if any nation is going to move forward, it is as it prioritizes engineering in the scheme of things. There is this example I've always used for people, and it is about China. That when China, today now, China is by and large the largest economy in the world, and it has become, you know, of course, a threat, you know, to the United States of America. And when China was going to get ahead, it is said that they had upward of 18 engineers on the federal cabinet. And it got to a time away from studying arts and some other disciplines, which of course, I mean, at the end of the day, every body of knowledge is very important for human development. But at that point in time, China had to redirect, you know, its priorities, as it were, to ensure that, you know, if you would aspire to leadership, if you would play key roles in national development, they started studying engineering and, of course, economics. And that was where, you know, the turnaround started from. So if any nation is going to get ahead, if any nation is going to turn the corner from being underdeveloped, you know, go through the journey of developing to become, you know, a force to reckon with, it is as it ensures that engineering is at the center of its national development program.
Now, it's safe to say that Nigeria is not one of the developed nations.
Very well.
And in other words, going by your definition, that means that our engineering standard, so to speak, is not as up there as those of the developed nations.
Yes.
Where is the country lacking?
Yes, it's actually a very comprehensive engagement. And of course, we must understand that there are a number of aspects to it, but you know, we can bring it down to three key areas of first engineering study, and then you go to engineering practice, and then of course regulation, you know, regulations around engineering. You know, these are the levers of development. And as a matter of fact, you know, we have continued to engage ourselves, you know, within the profession. Like, for example, the first university in Nigeria was established as far back as 1948. So we have been studying engineering in Nigeria, you know, for upward of 50, 60 years. Then the question would be, what are the engineering outputs? You understand? You know, okay, maybe one clear example I can give. As a matter of fact, we have eminent civil engineers in this country. We have eminent civil engineering companies. But you would still see that, you know, when it gets to a point where we are engaging professionals for key national projects, we still continue to talk of foreigners. Let me give an example. The railway projects that have been ongoing, you know, everybody knows that this is being handled by Chinese, you know, professionals. So that you know, gives you an idea. I mean, and I must also be able to point out that, you know, engineering is with a very wide spectrum. It starts from, you know, conceptualization through design, and then from design you start talking about procurement, then construction, then you get to the level of operation and maintenance. Then, you know, it's about what we call life cycle management. So you see again that for us as a nation, and that is part of where we remain underdeveloped, even if you want to say we are a developing nation, in that we have continued to be a consuming, you know, economy. And as such, the best we have had over the years is to operate in, or to play in operations and maintenance. So we have German technology brought here, we have maybe even Indian technology that we will now have to go through training to be able to operate, and then we maintain. And it gets to, you know, in the process of even maintenance, you talk of spare parts, and then we have to start looking outside. So that gives you an overview of the very huge gap that we have in engineering in the country.
Now, two things I'd like to take you up. What you said has shown, raised a question mark on our education system. And does that mean that a young Nigerian that is watching this program right now, how do you encourage such to look at taking up engineering in a Nigerian tertiary institution?
Yes.
Okay. What encouragement would you want?
Linking it back to where I started from. Every patriotic Nigerian, both old and young, from what I'd said, that, you know, engineering is the mayor of development. So if you are passionate about Nigeria moving forward, if you are passionate about Nigeria becoming, again, I mean, let me digress a bit. We have now a number of our young people, you understand now, I mean, traveling out of the country, you know, settling out of here. And I've always told people that yes, you run to Canada, no problem, run to the UK, but you must understand that it took a generation of Canadians to build the Canada that now attracts you today. It took a generation of, you know, British people to build the UK that attracts you today. So why don't we then be the generation of Nigerians that will also build this place? You know, we've seen it, you know, happen somewhere in UAE, Dubai, of this world and the like. So for every patriotic Nigerian, you must understand that if we must grow, if we must become, if we must have the Nigeria of our dream, as we, you know, call it, we must give full attention to engineering. So I must encourage young ones that if they also want to start seeing on the TV and they want to see Nigeria also sending what's it called now, equipments to the space, and you know they want to see all those things, they must show interest in Nigeria. All of those things that they watch on their cartoons, they are actually products of engineering. So they must be passionate to say, you know, I also want to make this happen here. So now coming about, I mean, to the tertiary education, like I had said, it is not exactly about even the curriculum, even though, of course, we continue to advocate, you know, for a whole lot of, one thing that is beautiful about engineering is that the rate at which, you know, development, you know, it's evolving in engineering and technology now is quite, that is why you will see a situation whereby the phone you bought maybe 10 months ago, you just see that new ones have come up with new features. So we must ensure that we can adapt, you know, our engineering education curriculum to new trends. But be that as it may, it is not exactly about, you know, the quality of education in terms of capacity. Not that we don't have qualitative hands to, you know, engage us as professors, as lecturers. But again, you will talk about the tools. You know, let me give you an example. Back then in the school, one of our lecturers, when he was teaching us, a number of, you know, the stuff that he was teaching us, he had to draw on the board. And he now said that he actually pities us because during his own days, those things you can see in the lab. You will go to the workshop and he said, whatever you touch and feel, it sticks more in your head than trying to cram that, oh, this is what this diagram looks like. So, I mean, talking about, you know, the education, it's, you know, again, all encompassing about tools, equipment, having standard workshops, labs, and of course, the curriculum, and then kind of training and retraining for the lecturers. So even though we may not be there, that will also not say we cannot. At the end of the day, that does not apply alone to engineering when it comes to our tertiary institutions. So that goes across every body of knowledge and all departments and faculties. So that should not discourage anybody to take up engineering. But like I had said, young ones must be encouraged that, you know, the future, if you want to create the right kind of future, it is only as you take interest in engineering. Engineering is summed up in two keywords for me. One, creation and solution. You know, somebody said something that there are only two people that create things, God and the engineer. So engineering is all about creation, you know, bringing things to life, you know, looking at things. Of course, it rests on science. So, you know, being able to actually translate scientific principles and create, you know, so then the other word is solution. That is what, you know, engineering is all about understanding a problem and with your knowledge of scientific principles be able to derive exactly. So these are areas that should naturally interest, and you know, young ones are very inquisitive. That is why you will see a number of them that you feel eventually they may even get to study something else, but they are also always curious, what is this about? So engineering actually fits into the worldview of young minds, and that is about the best profession that anybody can actually take on, particularly as it now has to do with your future. You know, I mean, like at the end of the day, it's what determines the quality of life. I tell people, if you want to understand the beauty of engineering, imagine your life without electricity. Imagine your life without motor vehicle. You understand? Imagine your life without, you know, the telephone. Then you are going back to the Stone Age. Then you appreciate engineering. It's about the best to actually take on here.
All right. If as a parent, are there certain attributes that you can see in your child and say, okay, this boy or this girl is tending towards engineering?
Engineering, of course, yes. And of course, again, like I like the point that you made that as a parent, you know, parenting is it's a different ball game. It's a discipline of its own, and you must be able to understand. And of course, I agree totally that, you know, there are some things.
We have a call. Hello, Joanna from Lagos. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, Joanna. Can you speak a little louder?
Yes.
How are you? Good evening. How is Lagos today?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, you want to
I'd like to answer the question.
you want to answer the question. What's the answer to the question?
Fine, sir.
What is the answer to the question? Go ahead. Give us the answer.
Uranium.
Uranium. Okay. Do you have any question for my guests?
Uranium is the answer.
All right. Well, we've noted that. We'll let you know at the end of the program if you are correct or not. But do you have any question for my guests?
No, sir.
All right. So, Joanna, stay tuned. Keep listening to us. And by the end of the program, we'll let you know if you are correct or not. Thank you very much.
Okay, so back to the question. So some of the things you look out for in a child is to see that, yes, this child can actually be very inquisitive. You know, I mean, he just wants to know what is behind, you know, this. Then another thing you will look out for as the child also goes through school is to see that the child has, you know, I mean, he or she has flair for subjects like mathematics, for, you know, solving problem. Then you can really pick and be able to actually, you know, guide the child appropriately. But again, at the end of the day, as much as, of course, you know, that lies with maybe natural capability, and of course, you talk about having passion. What the child, you know, is just about passionate about. So again, I would not want us to limit it to say, okay, it is only when I see this in a child that I can encourage that he or she studies engineering. For me, any child can be molded, you know, can be supported to actually take up engineering.
All right. Lastly, because our time is fast running out, if you are going to change something in government, that means you have to be part of at least being the corridor of power.
Definitely.
Now, how do we now encourage engineers like yourself to now come to the corridor of power to enforce the engineering principles I'm talking about
and then create the right kind of policies? Yes. For me, it's very clear and straightforward. It is to first bring up yourself as a valuable partner to the government, and that is what we are trying to, you know, do. Again, I must first, I must at this point appreciate this kind of platform that the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abeokuta, and of course our senior colleague, Engineer Prince Yemisi Chilon, FNSC, as well as your organization, OGTV, you know, I mean, that you have all provided. One of the things we do in the Nigerian Society of Engineers, we partners to government. So without first being part of them, we look at, okay, what areas do we feel there are gaps? We derive solutions, then we now try to engage with government. So with that, they are open to us. So that's what I want to encourage more of our engineers to do, that first and foremost, get involved in the association. Then through the platform of the association, derive value, and then engage with government. Gradually, government will be able to see that, oh, indeed, if we must move in the right direction, we have to listen to these people. So with that, you have an opportunity to start engaging, and before you know it too, we start taking up some positions. That is also not to say that we will not encourage more of our members to take up politics, you know, as part of their priorities. So we can as well have the opportunity to be, you know, part of the policy makers.
All right. Like I always say, our time flies when you are having fun. We are rounding off the program right now, and our question for the day is, what is the fuel used in nuclear power plant? And Juliana from Lagos, you got it right. The answer is uranium. And you can, for your gift, Juliana, I know you are listening, just call this number 0703 161 1497. 0703 161 1497. The gift is courtesy Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC. And for the question for the week, as we continue our conversation on the social media, what's the question for the week? The question is, what is the technical term used for steps in construction? What is the technical term used for steps in construction? You can join us on Facebook at OGUNTV and on YouTube at Ogtv Abeokuta. Our time is up. We'll see you next week. Our conversation continues on social media. Until next week, my name is Tunde Laniro, and I'm saying bye for now.